Here's your heads up to this episode of the Personal Development Unplugged podcast with me, Paul Clough. This is weird because it all started from crick neck, some pillows, and an aha moment that has changed my outlook on everything. It's really weird, and you've got to be so uncomfortable to be comfortable and get success, an achievement which I know you can. That just doesn't make sense, does it? But it will if you listen after this.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hi guys, how you doing? And especially, how are you doing? I'm pretty good today because of a funny aha moment. And it's an aha moment which is absolutely bloody silly, but has made a lot of things come into either focus or something I agree with now and understand, because I always used to, intellectually I understood about going to places that are uncomfortable, because that's where you grow. When you stretch, you grow, and stretching isn't comfortable. Intellectually, I understood that, but it was just like rhetoric. But then this morning, and it's over the last 2 mornings really, for a long time I've been having a really bad neck. And a bad neck in as much as it was really hard and painful to turn right and left, which is, painful anyway. And driving makes it very difficult, and you're moving like your shoulders are attached to your neck, which I know they are, but and they don't move. And I've been experimenting with different ways, and it seems to be worse when I got up in the mornings. So I thought, maybe it's the way I'm sleeping, I'm pretty bright like that. It only took a few months. And I've been trying different pillows and that. And in the end, and what I never have done, is I put 2 pillows down. 2 pillows, one on top of the other. They seemed huge, but I tried it for the night before last. And I thought, well, this is really uncomfortable. I can't get to sleep like this. And eventually I did fall asleep. And I didn't really notice too much of a difference, just a slight difference, but things got easier during the day. And then last night, I thought, well, I'd go back to my old way of sleeping. And I thought, no, bugger it, and try one more way. But I'm going to, same 2 pillars, but I'm going to just move them around a little bit. And it was uncomfortable. But it was a weird uncomfortableness, because it wasn't painfully uncomfortable. It was just odd uncomfortable. It was something I wasn't used to uncomfortable. And I still had in my mind that self-talk going on. Don't think you're going to get to sleep about this, Cluffy. It's not quite right. But I just breathed away, as you do, and woke up in the morning. And I'm turning my neck and going, where's the pain gone? Where's the pain gone? Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, Cluffy, it's fairly obvious. You got your neck's in the right position and you've woken up and now it's okay. And that's exactly right. But it's that silly little aha moment about, because you see, although that was the right position, it was uncomfortable because I'd got used to being in the wrong position. I got comfortable with that wrong position, even though it hurt me. And that then struck me. That's exactly what we do in real life, isn't it? We have what I call the familiar zone. People call it their comfort zone. And the thing is, we're happy to be in this comfort zone, which isn't comfortable. It's familiar, but we don't do anything about it. And it's only when we stretch ourselves and you go, this is a bit weird. I'm moving out to another circle or doing something a little bit different. And it becomes uncomfortable, which is where I don't mind using comfort zone to uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable, but it's right. You're stretching things correctly. There's no pain. If you stretch properly physically, there's a stretching type of, you're stretching, but you're not hurting yourself. As you breathe and you suddenly let go of your breath, all of a sudden, everything just releases and relaxes, doesn't it? Have you ever tried that? Just breathe into it. And all of a sudden, we've done an episode, a 5-minute quickie, a long time ago, about Melissa, my daughter-in-law, told me about the gatekeeper, because she's a yoga teacher. She said, just wait for the gatekeeper. And as you breathe, the gatekeeper will open the gate and allow you to stretch more. And this was it. You just got to stay a little bit uncomfortable, because that uncomfortableness is what is really comfortable. It's just you got used to being in bad alignment. That bad alignment for me, physically, was comfortable, even though the results weren't. And it just needed to be uncomfortable for a short while. And in fact, it wasn't that uncomfortable after a while. It was unfamiliar. And then it got me thinking, there's a guy called Jocko Willikow. He does a podcast. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. And he says, you've got to go and be uncomfortable. And I used to say, yeah, I understand that intellectually. But now I know what he means, because when you move into that uncomfortableness, you're actually moving into the sphere where you're meant to be, I think. You're coming back into alignment because you're moving past that invisible barrier, the invisible barrier of that comfort zone, that familiar zone. And you're moving in to get the things that you desire, get the things that you want, get the things that you're due, what you attract, the wonderful things. And you become aligned with it because you're now acting aligned, which is unfamiliar. And it doesn't feel quite right sometimes, but just a couple of times, and then you move on. And it's listen to a guy called Joe Rogan. You've heard me speak about Joe Rogan on his podcast. Massive podcast. Massive. Here we're a little grain of sand. He is massive. He is the whole beach and beaches. And he's talking about, when he goes to the gym, he said, if I only went to the gym when I liked it and I felt good, he said, I'd be a fat slob. He said, I don't enjoy it, but I know it's the right thing to do. It's uncomfortable doing it, but at the end of it, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel a sense of achievement. You've gone through that uncomfortableness. You've had the gatekeeper come and let those muscles move to stretch. And it just seems so right for me now. So just this stupid thing, and I know it's stupid. You can say, yeah, Cluffy, it's stupid, about this, physical thing of a pillow. It's like my unconscious mind has taken that metaphor. It's a true metaphor, obviously, but taking it as a metaphor and said, oi, Cluffy, what things aren't you doing? What things could you do? What things have you been holding yourself back from? Nearly forgot the from then. But what things have I been holding myself back from? What are the things which I think are going to be uncomfortable that I haven't done, I've shied away from? Because knowing that it will be uncomfortable for a while, until it becomes familiar and it becomes comfortable, because I know I'm moving from that old way to an aligned way, to a way that's going to give me so much more joy, so much more experiences, or so many more experiences, to learn things, to be able to see things differently. It just makes it so much different to me. It makes me look at books differently. In fact, I looked at a book yesterday and again this morning, a book that I've had and I didn't really rate. And I started looking at it again, and all of a sudden things are popping out from the pages going, wow, that's awesome. Because now I've got a different focus, I think. Now I've got a different way of being. And so can you, because I'm not going to talk about myself, because this is just a natural procedure. It was just my metaphor that I wanted to share with you, that everyone has been telling me, and telling you if you listen to the same things, and they're right. They're 110% correct. You've got to get outside this comfort zone. You've got to push yourself. You've got to stretch yourself. You've got to set your goals a little bit further than you think. Because quite honestly, you and me, we don't know enough to know what our barriers are. We don't know enough to know what, our limits are. That's a better way of putting it, our limits. We just don't. So let's not guess them. Let's just really go and push those limits further and further. And that's what I want you to do here. Anything you hear me say, if there's anything you can do, can you push it further? Can you take it and change it? Or, if nothing else, just do the things we talk about. Because sometimes it's very comfortable, isn't it? Just to listen to these things. Just as I was listening to Joe Rogan, listening to Jocko Willikow, listening to Melissa, as it were, in the yoga. It was easy to listen in this misaligned, uncomfortable, uncomfortable, familiar zone that I was in. But now I know it's something you have to do. You have to push yourself. And I know you can. So I wonder if you were just to suspend your past beliefs on the things that you haven't done and the reasons why you haven't done them, if you were to suspend them now and just imagine anything is possible. Anything is possible for you. So your goals, if anything is possible, what would your goal be? What would you like to head towards? What would you like to work towards? Who is the real you that when you get into that place of being slightly uncomfortable, that you know is the real place of alignment, because it'll suddenly go click, click, click into alignment. I wonder, what do you see? Who do you see? How do you see it? What would it be? How would it make you feel when you achieve it right now? What would it be like if you could achieve it right now? See yourself over there doing it. Who would that you over there be? How would they sound? Achieving all those goals, having gone through that invisible barrier that you used to put up back then in the past. Having gone through that slight bit of uncomfortableness to make this new way of being comfortably aligned with your vision, your path. What would they tell you if they looked back at you now and said, what advice would they give you? Listen to the words now. Just imagine that you over there giving you the words. And this just brings back to mind when I did something very similar to this on my trainer's training, because I was uncertain about being a trainer. And I had to imagine someone, a mentor. And I picked this particular guy who I look up to immensely. And I asked him, what do I need to do? What do I need to learn? And basically he just said, just go do the... I won't swear. He swore, because he is a colourful guy. He said, just go do it, because you can. And you'll learn. You've got the skills and you'll learn even more. Just go do it. And it's exactly the same thing, isn't it? Just go do it. Go through that barrier. It all makes sense to me now. All these little things that the right teacher comes along at the right time. Maybe I wasn't in the right place in me. I know at that time I was going through a few bits and pieces, and quite big bits and pieces, which we've talked about before. But it just seems to now start to clog together as a cog together. Sorry, my word and dictionary is diction. No, let me say diction now. But it all seems to be coming together, and I'm getting so excited about what I'm going to start to think about, what I'm going to start to push and allow those ideas, that intuition to come into its fruition, so I can see clearly a way to go. And even if I don't see it, I'll know. I'll be aware. So what are you aware of now, right now, of where you want to go, where you are going, what you will achieve? And I just want to finish up with some really wonderful words, again, which I understood intellectually, but it was a bit weird for me. And there's a guy called David Goggins, and he's an awesome guy, and he pushes himself to the limit, well, beyond the limit. He has done so many things physically that just are beyond belief, but how can they be beyond belief? Because he does it. He's being the example that he wants to see in others and himself. And he says, be the uncommon person in a group of uncommon people. And I thought to myself, that's so weirdly good. That sounds to be absolutely awesome. To be the uncommon person in a group of uncommon people. That's when you are really being that ordinary person, doing extraordinary things. Day after day after day, because you can, and knowing you could do more. And sometimes it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but that is something that you're going to do because you know it is the thing that's going to feed you. Feed your muscles, feed your muscle in the brain. Get those endorphins going, get those neural pathways, those synaptic gaps flashing and connecting, making new neural pathways of what is possible. Allowing those wonderful positive beliefs to flood through every cell of your body. So there you go. Has that given you something to think about? It did me this morning, as you can tell. And I hadn't even made any notes about this. I just thought, I just want to talk to you about it. I want you to share my personal, silly little bit about a pillow. But how, when we notice and our best friend inside says, oi, Notice what's going on. Notice this metaphor. Get a grip, Cluffy. Do it. And to me, that's awesome. And that's where this moment, just talking about it now, I have a great sense of gratitude to my best friend and to you for being here listening. Someone I can share this personal stuff with, and hopefully you can share it too. So no more about sharing. I know you'll share it if you can, but until next time, have more passion and more fun than you can stand. Maybe just wake up now, smell the coffee, and set those goals. Set the bar higher than you could ever imagine, and then just know you're going to beat it. Jump over it, go around it, whatever you want to do. It's your friend Paul. Bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.